The struggle for survival begins even before birth. This tiny fissure, a dramatic entrance into life begins alone.
For this hatchling, there is no mother.
There is only the shadow of the forest floor. And the instinct to kill. This is not the story of a herd.
This is the story of a killer that deceived the world.
It is the chronicle of Deinonychus. A forged weapon.
This file name reads Deinonychus antiropus.
Kilograms of wire-tense muscle.
Cloverleaf Formation of North America.
$110 million years ago. Fighting style, a mesopredator.
It was a hunter, but also the hunted.
Discovery.
Its unearthing in 1969 changed everything.
It gave us the true image of the dinosaur. Fast, intelligent,
And scary.
The Early Cretaceous was a world in transition. The Cloverleaf Formation was a vast, brutal floodplain.
A landscape of rivers, forests, and alluvial plains. This was not a peaceful home. It was a mesopredator's battlefield. A moment of profound stillness. Here, in the cradle of the Cretaceous, the air itself. A 100-kilogram killer was not the king. Apex predator of this arena was Acrocanthosaurus. A 12-meter Carcharodontosaur. Its presence defined every action, every hunt, every risk.
Formidable hunter, beautifully adapted to its prehistoric world. It is, above all else, a survivor. The rest of the cast were its targets.
small, fleet-footed Zephyrosaurus.
Heavily armored Sauropelta.
And the primary target.
Main course.
To survive in this arena, Deinonychus could not rely on size or brute force. It has to be an expert, a tactician, a creature of terrifying precision. It had to become a deceptive killer. The gripping terror. Deinonychus was built for one purpose: conflict. Deinonychus was built for one purpose: conflict.
It was a perfect mesopredator.
Its primary weapon is an icon of terror. 5-inch falciform claw on its foot. The grappling hook. Biomechanics tells a new and much more violent story.
This is not a blade.
We call it the raptor prey restraint model. The claw was a puncturing, locking mechanism. Designed to penetrate the flesh.
Lock Deinonychus onto its struggling victim. It was a tool to pin the prey down, holding it fast as it bled. The kill was not made by the feet.
It was made by the jaws.
The secondary weapons: 6 sharp, serrated teeth, curved backward. They were not designed to crush bone.
They were designed to tear flesh. The tactician.
It had an EQ comparable to a modern hawk.
This was not the complex mind of a wolf.
It was the sharp, problem-solving focus of an avian predator.
Finally, its tail. A long, stiffened counterbalance.
This was the rudder.
structure that allowed it to leap, to pivot, and to grapple.
This was not a creature of brute force, but a master of leverage, agility, and control.
The reptilian upbringing.
Fight for the next generation.
And it is here the myth of the wolf pack finally dies.
Adults hunting together, bringing food back to a communal den.
In a world often pursued as cold and brutal, we find a surprisingly warm, almost mammalian story. But the bones tell a different story. It analyzed what they ate at different stages of life.
The juveniles ate completely different food than the adults.
This is the ontogenetic dietary shift. The young Deinonychus were not in a pack. They were hunting alone.
Their diet consisted of lizards, small mammals.
Loggerhead sea turtles employ a unique survival strategy. The adult provides no care.
Like a modern crocodile, the young were self-reliant from birth.
Only when they reached their full 100-kilogram weight. They gained the mass and power to tackle the main event, Tenontosaurus. There was no nest.
There was no pack.
It was only the solitary struggle to survive long enough to become the killer we know. Predator's biography is not one of cooperation, but of a brutal, individual climb to the top.
The Two-Front War.
It fought a war on two fronts. Was its prey.
2,000-kilogram Tenontosaurus.
A coordinated, tactical assault. The reality is far more chaotic. We now call it the agonistic mob.
Multiple Deinonychus, normally solitary.
They were as dangerous to each other as they were to the Tenontosaurus.
Famous Ostrom fossil site, 4 Deinonychus dead around a single Tenontosaurus, is the smoking gun.
This blood in the water led to the second front. The
bloody, chaotic mobbing of a Tenontosaurus was a dinner bell.
True apex predator would arrive. And it would steal their kill. This was the constant, existential risk of being Deinonychus. The legacy.
The Chronicle of Deinonychus is more than a story of survival. It is the story of a scientific revolution. This is, perhaps, the most important dinosaur of the 20th century.
Highly intelligent, with a massive brain relative to its size, and eyes that saw the world in sharp, focused detail.
And hot-blooded killer.
It shattered the old image of slow, lumbering lizards.
It gave us the agile, terrifying creatures we know today.
A sound etched into our collective memory. Its cultural legacy is immortal.
Deinonychus is the direct inspiration for the Velociraptor of Jurassic Park.
Its fossil legacy is the legendary Ostrom site.
A Rosetta Stone of predator-prey dynamics.
A silent, brutal story.
It sparked a scientific debate that still rages 50 years later.
Its greatest legacy is that of the deceptive killer. An animal so revolutionary, it changed science forever.
Even if our first interpretation, the wolf pack, was just a stepping stone to a far more complex truth.
The deceptive killer. It is a process of discovery. A detective case written in bone. And found a creature more like a Komodo dragon, with the mind of a hawk, a solitary killer. A survivor in an arena of titans. Its final, tragic chronicle is one of adaptation, deception, and a brutal reptilian reality.
For you is the legacy of Deinonychus.
The weapons it carried.
The solitary struggle it endured.
Nominate a new paleontological record in the comments.